Mediaite, for the most part, is an anti-Trump, kind of a typical website, a news and media and culture site that never misses a chance to rip conservatives and Trump. They've got a couple of writers that are sort of lean to the right. I think Isaac Shore is one of their right. I mean, he might be an editor, and he's fairly conservative, I think, comes from a conservative media background. Anyway, here's the Mediaite headline, which is hysterical. Schumer rips Trump for ending Maduro regime after previously ripping him for not ending the regime. I give you Senator Chuck Schumer circa 2020.
He brags about all these things he wants to do or is doing, but his actions belie his words. Maybe the best metaphor was his claim to bring democracy to Venezuela. There was a big policy there. It flopped. If the policy was working, Juan Guaido wouldn't be in the balcony here. He'd be in Venezuela. He'd be sitting in the president's palace, or at least waging a fight to win. He's here. And the president brags about his Venezuela policy? Give us a break. He hasn't brought an end to the Maduro regime. The Maduro regime is more powerful today and more entrenched today than it was when the president began.
There he was in 2020. His hair was a little darker. He looked a little younger. Here he was yesterday.
Well, the next question is very simple, and that is that we have the War Powers Act. That's a privilege resolution, which means the Republicans can't block it. Tim Kaine and I and Rand Paul are sponsors of it. It's going to come to the floor this week. And if it is voted for, if it's voted positively in both houses, then the president can't do another thing in Venezuela without the okay of Congress. We have to pass it.
It's unbelievable. These guys are clowns. They're absolute comical clowns. The hypocrisy is seeping out of their pores. Welcome in. I'm so glad to be with you. 800-655-MIKE. We want to put your voice front and center. We got a lot of breaking news and a lot of things to track down for you. 800-655-6453. Hope you join us. And let me just ask you directly. After you saw what we did in Venezuela, when you saw what happened in Caracas, and you saw the American military machine extract this corrupt dictator and his wife, how proud did you feel about America? How proud were you at the might and the majesty of the United States of America? Unreal, unbelievable that our country is capable of this kind of achievement. And from a political front, watching liberals and Democrats support a tyrannical dictator like Maduro, there were protests that broke out all over America with lunatics on the left holding signs saying free Maduro. Now look, if you want to free Luigi Mangione, it makes sense that you'd be on the side of Maduro. Check out this exchange, courtesy of the Daily Caller, with a pro-Maduro protester. This will put a bigger smile on your face than the news that Tim Walz is dropping out.
Would you trade Trump for Maduro?
Yeah. 100%. I mean, I think I think Maduro was democratically elected.
Probably, yeah. Sure.
More than likely, yes, of course.
If there's a Nicolas Maduro out here who's going to bring us to revolution, I will support that movement.
I would rather have a bus driver in charge than a billionaire, okay? Let's put it that way.
Nicolas Maduro could come and be our president?
Yeah.
Oh, any day. Any day. Look, all the check marks are there. He's not white. Okay, he's a minority. Okay. He looks a little too much like Saddam Hussein, though.
Those are Americans protesting in the streets on behalf of Maduro. Trump hatred makes people crazy. I mean, unhinged. Holy moly. Let's go. 800-655-Mike. Eduardo is back from Tampa Bay. Happy New Year, Eduardo.
Yeah, Mike, happy New Year. Yeah. So as a Mexican-American, these white protesters, pro-Maduro, is pretty embarrassing. And I am going to be calling the progressive station because they were happy that Elon Stefanik is not going to be run for office. Now I can call their radio station and say, hey, how come Tim Walz is not running for re-election?
I mean,
throw it right back in their face.
How are they going to explain Tim Walz folding like a cheap camera, throwing in the towel? I mean, and Eduardo, what's Walz going to say? What's he going to say about why he's dropping out? Because I'm corrupt as the day is long? Because all this happened on my watch? I mean, isn't this a complete defeat?
Yeah, it's just like L.A., Chicago, and New York. Yeah.
Here we go again. I mean, just scandal after scandal. Yeah, you call those progressives. I know you like to call radio shows, and so you go to work and call whatever progressive. You said you called them the pro-Maduro. I didn't know there was a pro-Maduro station in Tampa Bay, but nothing would surprise me anymore. This is where I blew it. I should have just done a format. I should buy and build up a radio station in the Tampa Bay area that only supports tyrants and murderers and dictators. I mean, look at what who the Democrats are in the corner of. They were fine with Charlie Kirk being murdered. They were fine with Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare, being murdered. They support Maduro. Down the line, they want open borders. They support violent illegals. There should be a format that's just like evil. WEVL. I won't have to worry about retirement. That'll be it. That'll be minting money. WEVL in Tampa Bay. Hi, this is Mike Gallagher. Look at what they're doing to poor Nicolas Maduro. He was democratically elected. That was one of the. No, he wasn't. He lost. He got his butt whipped in the election, and because he is a tyrant and a dictator, he did what tyrant dictators always do. He stayed in power. Listen to Chris Murphy. These guys are so pathetic. Chris Murphy running to CNN saying that Maduro should not have been taken out by the Trump administration.
Venezuela is not a security threat to the United States. They're not threatening to invade us. There is no terrorist group like Al-Qaeda operating there that has plans to attack the United States. To the extent that you care about the drug trade, yes, they produce drugs, but those drugs go to Europe. Fentanyl is the drug that's killing Americans. That's not coming from Venezuela. Venezuela produces cocaine. 90% of it is not coming to the United States. This seems to be mostly about oil and natural resources. Donald Trump's entire foreign policy is corrupt. Russia, the Middle East, and now Venezuela is all about making money for his friends. And Wall Street, the oil industry, they can make a lot of money off of Venezuela if they run it. You saw within hours of the invasion the announcement of a group of Wall Street investors, energy industry investors, planning a trip to Venezuela to make money off of this invasion, off of this ouster. So unfortunately, once again, you're seeing that this president's foreign policy, the invasion of Venezuela, the ouster of Maduro, is about making his crowd filthy rich. It has nothing to do with American national security.
800-655-Mike. This is who they are today. This is what I loved the meme. I posted it on all over X, speaking of my X account. I got to go through my X feed because over the weekend, there were so many things that were happening that were it was so fun. There's Trump holding a sign in a magician suit. For my next trick, Democrats will now defend authoritarianism in Venezuela. He actually gets them because of their hatred for him to support a brutal dictator. And there's a lot of reasons why this Venezuelan move makes so much sense. I saw some great analysis by Jonathan Schanzer. This is from the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. He writes, the Trump administration's capture of Maduro was a U.S. victory on two fronts, the war on drugs and the great power competition with China and Russia. For years, the war on drugs has been fought at home, primarily with slogans aimed at changing the behavior of American citizens. Trump upended that feckless approach in 2025, when he began bombing the narco vessels bringing drugs to the United States. His strategy was controversial, to put it mildly. Well, this past weekend, Trump upped the ante again. He brought down a narco state through regime change. The flow of dangerous drugs to the U.S. can be expected to slow as a result. The deterrent effect of this operation cannot be overstated. The cartels and kingpins that have historically poisoned the United States with drugs are now on notice. But also, bringing down Maduro was about bringing the Western Hemisphere back under the influence of the United States. Maduro was not just the head of a narco state, he was an ally of America's nastiest enemies. In fact, Maduro met with a senior Chinese delegation in Caracas shortly before he was captured by U.S. Special Forces. And Maduro's regime was not just an ally to China. The regime in Caracas was also a valuable partner to other rogue states like Russia, Cuba, Iran, even Turkey. A notoriously unreliable NATO ally has been an ally to the Maduro regime. If done right, he writes, the ousting of Maduro will weaken the influence of America's adversaries in our hemisphere. It'll deprive the cartels of a transit hub for shipments to the United States, and it will deprive our enemies of a valued ally. If that's how things play out, that's not a bad start to 2026.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.